Assalamu alaikum Shabbat! I want you to be loud. I want you to be proud. It's time to be brave. Are you ready?
A man's vision, determination, inspired a generation. It gave a new dream for the youth of his homeland. It created a groundbreaking revolution in the sports. When a vision is strongest, nothing can stop its far-reaching impact. And the vision was 3 powerful letters: KHK. And today, his vision is far-reaching. The valor and pride of his homeland is far-reaching. Today, his vision is defining the future of a new generation. A generation of heroes and of gladiators. Today is the day of hope for the hopeless. The day KHK will inspire the souls to fight back, irrespective of what they are and who they are. Many will emerge as heroes. This will be a new era of true heroes and gladiators. When he stood in the front and led them, they called him the Prince of Gladiators and Heroes.
In 2016, a vision revolutionized mixed martial arts in the Middle East. It all started with the evolution of MMA in a small island in the Middle East. The magnificent Kingdom of Bahrain, a land of ancient glory and bravery, thriving under great leaders and visionaries. The country is now home to the largest MMA promotion in the region, Brave Combat Federation. And the kingdom became the first ever country outside of the United States that featured the IMF World Championships. His Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad Al Khalifa and his true warrior spirit envisioned the growth of MMA in the region. He believed in the glory of the sport of mixed martial arts and facilitated the best MMA facility in the land. Along with brave President the Hawk, Mohammed Shahid, in the shortest span of time, we grew stronger. We grew bigger. This is the story of the fastest growing MMA promotion in the world. This is the story of Brave Combat Federation.
This bout is sponsored by Brave Energy Drink. Only the best to power your best effort. Fortune favors the brave. Mohammed Salah Al Mamari will represent Bahrain in Brave CF's opening bout as he takes on Mohammed Taufik Al Mehrat, one of Jordan's biggest prospects in the amateur scene. Coming up next, Mohammed Salah Al Mamari meets Mohammed Taufik Al Mehrat in an amateur flyweight bout.
Three 3-minute rounds in the amateur flyweight division. Introducing your first warrior. Fighting out of the blue corner, this man's a mixed martial artist with an amateur record of 3 wins and no losses. He stands 165 centimeters tall and weighs a ready 57.3 kilograms. Representing Gladiator MMA in Jordan and fighting out of Irbid, Jordan, please welcome the Falcon, Mohammed Taufik Al Mehrat. And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner. This man's a mixed martial artist with an amateur record of 8 wins and 5 losses. He stands 168 centimeters tall and weighs a ready 56.9 kilograms. Representing KHK MMA and fighting out of the magnificent Kingdom of Bahrain, give it up for Mohammed Salah Al Muammari. Your referee is Hadi Muhammad Ali.
There we see the tail of the tape, ladies and gentlemen. Mohammed Salah Al Muammari at 24 years old. Mohammed Al Mehrat a little bit older at 29. Both these men weighing in at the 57 kg limit, and we are about to get things popping off, Kirik.
It's on, Phil.
Touch of gloves to start. The Falcon in the blue, Mohamed Salah Al-Muammari in the red. Notice both these men wearing shin guards. Slightly bigger gloves, as this is an amateur bout. Just trying to get a measure of one another right now. Nice wide stance from the Falcon, almost as if he's anticipating a potential takedown coming from Mohamed. And it's the Falcon in with the takedown. Trying to grasp that single, gets his man to the ground. What kind of a ground game does he have? What kind of positional control can he implement here? Kimura attempt here by Mohamed Salah.
Reversal. In on the submission.
He's got the figure four grip on that. He may try and pull guard here to get that. Diving into the Kimura. He is relentless with that grip, Carrick.
Dog on a bone, baby. At this point, I do not believe he can do anything any longer with it, but he may prove me wrong.
The beauty of that Kimura grip is it's not just a submission. You can also use that to transition and move your opponent. But he really is going all in on this Kimura with the grip. The Falcon doing the right thing by keeping close, keeping compressed, not giving his opponent space with which to extend the hips and extend the arms and really get in on that.
Falcon is in there aggressively, not to fly, but to force his opponent down onto the ground. He's now doing what he's supposed to do, starting to inflict some damage.
And that's really smart positional control. He has the hand wrapped around the waist. He may try and even take the back from this position, but nice work from Al-Muammari to turn it in towards his opponent. We may see him trying to dive in for underhooks here. He's clamping down on that overhook he has on the right side. But again, wonderful takedown work, just methodical wrestling.
Extremely impressive, Phil. What's the most important aspect of mixed martial arts? Wrestling, and that is what we're seeing from the Falcon. Relentless wrestling with some strikes when he can do so safely, just like that.
Momentarily had a hook in, may look to reestablish that. You can see it's just beautiful pressure wrestling, forcing his opponent to do the work. Has one underhook, may try and work for another one.
Brave Nation, the athletes are right on top of us at that point. It appears the Falcon is trying to squeeze his opponent straight through the fence.
30 seconds to go in the opening round of three 3-minute rounds. Oh, that's nice work using the hands from the Falcon.
Al-Muammari trying to establish a striking game, has not been successful yet. And back down to the ground.
10-second clapper. And what I liked from the Falcon there was he used the hands a little bit and then transitioned to the takedown, stringing together, chaining his attacks very intelligently.
Round ends. Phil, let's play judge a little bit. I don't think there's any question in either of our minds who took that round 10-9.
Well, if you're looking at it, you have to factor in the takedowns, the positional control, the positional awareness from Mohamed Al-Muammari. And I think if I was pushed, I would have to say he took that 10-9.
I would indeed. And I would add, he didn't just wrestle him. This was not just a wall and stall. It wasn't a lay and pray. He was, as we can see in the replay, landing some strikes as well. Phil, walk us through the Green Hill replay.
Gets in on that single beautifully, and that elicited the reaction of the Kimura grip from Mohamed Salah Al-Muammari, who looked like he was really working for that. But again, with these 3-minute rounds in amateur mixed martial arts, you really need to snap something on quickly if you're going to get it done. But again, fantastic wrestling and positional dominance from Mohamed the Falcon Al-Muammari. It'll be interesting to see if he continues using that attack, use the hands to set up the takedowns.
That was the next question, Phil. Al-Muammari's team does believe he's down 10-9 at this point. What advice do they give him?
I think use your range a little bit more, circle off. Again, the difficulty with being an amateur is you can't load a knee to the head in a situation like that, which would negate the takedown threat. So I think he's going to try and circle off a little bit more and perhaps implement his boxing a little more.
Nice glove touch. We do appreciate the shows of sportsmanship in the Brave Cage.
And Al-Muammari looks very calm in there. He looks very loose. He's not rushing anything. He's letting the opportunities present themselves rather than trying to force something to happen. That's a lovely leg kick, but if anything, it was like a red rag to a bull. I think Al-Muammari's finger perhaps just slipped out of the glove there. These guys are starting to throw a little bit harder. There's bad intentions in those 8-ounce gloves. Again, clinch initiated by Al-Muammari. Nice little stepping knee. And again, the takedown defense now is looking a little bit cleaner for Mohamed Salah Al-Muammari.
It is.
Oh, that's a beautiful shot. Forces the takedown shot from the
Best
Falcon.
shot of the night, Phil.
Can he complete the single? He really needs to try. If he's going for that single, he needs to get that leg of his opponent between his legs and turn the corner on it. So far, good defense being implemented right now by Al-Muammari. High crotch attempt here from the Falcon. Again, the takedown defense is much better from Al-Muammari in this second round.
Phil, we do see these reversals of fortune happen in the Brave Combat Federation cage. Sometimes a fighter wins a round, gets just a little overconfident, doesn't set up his techniques as well, doesn't set up the strikes as well, the takedowns as well, and is denied and is countered. That is what we're seeing right here.
Halfway point of the second round, and that's a nice knee again to the body, but the problem with throwing those knees is sometimes if you're not quick enough with it, your opponent will latch on to your leg and force the takedown. Again, nice wide base here being implemented by Al-Muammari.
Phil, Al-Muammari is again trying to establish his wrestling, but he's not successful. In the judges' eyes, he may actually be trying to avoid a fight at this point.
Oh, that's a beautiful crushing knee to the body, and that really will take the wind out of the sails of your opponent. And nice head movement here from Al-Muammari. He's throwing that lead hook and then trying to roll out of it, but gets caught with a shot coming off his kick there. And I think a point we have to make as well, Carrick, is if you're the guy trying to implement the wrestling, that can be just as taxing as defending the wrestling.
If not more so, Phil. It actually can be harder to stop a shot than to initiate one, especially if you get stuck underneath somebody for a while and your breathing becomes compromised. Al-Muammari is not relenting on the strikes, even when he's pushed up against the cage, and again landed a clean body shot. Short time now, 10 seconds.
Oh, spinning back kick attempt from the Falcon. Tried to take flight there, but oh, that's beautiful takedown defense off the shot from Al-Muammari. A much closer round, but a very, very difficult one to call, Carrick. There's a number of factors going on there. Is it the pressuring and almost stalling against the cage that you give the points to, or is it the counter striking? Because the most telling shot that has been landed in this fight so far has come from Al-Muammari.
It was indeed. The first round, very, very clear to me. This one a little bit less clear, but I am calling it for Mohamed Salah Al-Muammari. 10-9. Brave Nation, I do believe we are now even at 20-20. Whoever wins the next round wins this fight.
And if you're looking at both fighters at the moment, Mohamed Salah Al-Muammari looks like the fresher fighter, whereas the Falcon looks like he's been grounded a little bit here. You're breathing a little bit heavier. You see Nauris Abzak in his corner, Brave Combat Federation Bantamweight fighter himself.
Momentum is a thing in mixed martial arts, just like physics, Phil. I'm really interested to see if Al-Muammari can keep the momentum he's got going and take this fight.
Especially at this stage of an amateur bout, it could come down to the cardio, could come down to who is the better conditioned fighter. And right now, just to look at them, it looks more like Al-Muammari. That's a nice stiff jab landed. The Falcon looks tired. He looks a little bit wobbly on those legs, Carrick.
He does, Phil, but he's backing up to try and set up a big shot. He's playing possum just a little bit here. Unfortunately, he may genuinely be tired. His reflexes may be a little slow. Thus far, those counter shots have not found their mark.
I think, as you say, Carrick, he's just trying to land that one big shot with what energy he has left, but Al-Muammari looking much fresher and in on a wonderful takedown. Beautiful entry and finish on that double
down
leg.
to the ground.
The Falcon has indeed landed on his back. And Al-Muammari now just forcing his opponent to carry his weight, landing enough strikes to keep him honest. And if he can exploit the fatigue of his opponent right now, you could see a potential stoppage.
Brave Nation, one of the most dangerous situations for a fighter is when he rises off the ground. When that happens, it becomes, as you're seeing right here, it becomes very easy to take the back, or if not very easy, relatively easy. This is one of the most potentially dangerous spots in the sport.
One hook established by Al Muammari. Can he get the second hook in and really try and force the action for the rear naked choke? Again, with that one hook, he may be setting up that second hook. He has wrist control on the Falcon.
Halfway through this round, and so far it is all Mohamed Salah Al Muammari.
Second hook established, now has a lot more control. May try and flatten his opponent out by stretching those legs out and forcing the hips down, and that's exactly what he's done. 1 minute with which to work. Can he secure a fight-ending submission right now? Trying to soften up the Falcon with big strikes. And when you have an opponent on your back digging in the hooks, it makes it so much more difficult to try and mount any kind of defense, but trying right now to turn into his opponent. Inside control, you could perhaps see a crucifix set up here. He's trying to step over for that crucifix, isolate the arm, expose the face of your opponent, and land big strikes.
Phil, there are moments in a fight when conditioning isn't everything, it's the only thing, and that's what we're seeing right now. Mohamed the Falcon Taufeeq Al-Mehrat is gassed.
Can he hang on for 20 seconds or so? But what a changing of the tide going from that first round. Slowly started to change in the second, and in the third it has been all Al Muammari. Trying to finish with a big flourish, big strikes to finish off. Momentarily steps just into the mount, and what a show of composure from the young 24-year-old KHK amateur fighter. Rode out the storm of the first round, in which he was taken down 3 or 4 times, and then implemented his game plan, worked well, finished him in a dominant position, and potentially took the fight.
I do believe he did, Phil. I've long believed and long noticed that how the fight ends very, very often dictates the score the judges give. That fight ended with Mohamed Salah Al Muammari in top mount, just about to rain down destruction. It's not an impossibility. They might even call this, for amateurs, a 10-8 round.
Scores just being tabulated by our cage side judges. Al Muammari lifting his hands aloft. He thinks he's done enough to win, but it matters really what the judges think.
The Falcon 2 raising his hand. He's proud of his performance, as well he should be. Two fighters embrace. Nice to see that happen before the scores are called. Respect is earned, and these two gentlemen have earned each other's respect.
And this has the potential to be a huge win for Mohamed Salah Al Muammari, potentially taking the scalp of the Falcon and handing him his first loss.
Phil, I think it's especially important that Al Muammari in this fight, if he has won, which I believe he do, he's learned how to come back. And unless your name is Friend of Brave Combat Federation,
there you see Yusuf Kouheji talking with his fighter post-fight. A lot of positives to take from that for the young IMAF veteran. And realistically, Keurig, with a performance like that, how far away do you think someone like Al Muammari is from the professional ranks?
that's a fantastic question, and it's always one that's up to the coach. So many amateur fighters pressure their coaches. Coach, when can I turn pro? Coach, when can I turn pro? It's up to the coach. That's not one I'd even like to touch. My answer personally, though, would be soon.
Making his way to the Brave Arena is the voice of Brave Combat Federation. It is the Roaring Lion, which means we have a decision.
All right, Brave Nation, what a way to start the night. After 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards. All 3 judges score the bout 29-28 for a unanimous decision victory. For your winner, out of the red corner, from KHK MMA, Mohammed Salah Al-Muammari.
There you have it, Brave Nation. Mohammed Salah Al-Muammari taking the clean sweep on all three judges' scorecards. As you say, Carrick, it was an illustration of what it's like to come back from a little bit of adversity. He showed a real mature approach to the fight game.
It is, Phil. Unless your name is Friend of Brave Combat Federation, Khabib Nurmagomedov, you have to learn how to come from behind. It's a key, essential quality in this sport, and he just proved he's got it.
And here we see the opening stances of the fight with Mohammed Al-Muammari trying and getting those takedowns. The Kimura attempt from Mohammed Salah Al-Muammari. And there from the second round, it really was all about Al-Muammari.
This bout is brought to you by Brave Gym. Training for mind, body, and spirit. Brave. It's more than a gym. Mohammed Samir, a representative from Bahrain, is making his Brave CF debut against Tony Barasha, the next prospect from Lebanon, in an amateur catchweight bout of 73 kilograms. Coming up next, Brave CF 44's opening bout in an amazing clash of amateurs between Samir and Barashet.
3 3-minute rounds in an amateur catchweight bout. Introducing your first warrior. Fighting out of the blue corner, this man's a mixed martial artist with an amateur record of 1 win and 1 loss. He stands 180 centimeters tall and weighs a ready 72.5 kilograms. Representing TriStar Gym and fighting out of Beirut, Lebanon, give it up for Tony Barashet! And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, this man's a mixed martial artist with an amateur record of 5 wins and 1 loss. He stands 173 centimeters tall and weighs a ready 72.8 kilograms. Representing KHK MMA and fighting out of the magnificent Kingdom of Bahrain, give it up for Mohammed Samir! Your referee is the Vanilla Gorilla, Aaron Wallace.
Phil, Mohammed Samir is fired up. I think I know who's going to attack first.
From Ballyclare to Bahrain, ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Wallace is your man in the middle. The Vanilla Gorilla himself taking charge. Here we go.
Calf kick from Samir.
Oh, what a frenetic
Phil,
pace.
clean shots are landing.
Tony Barashet wasting absolutely no time, getting busy with the hands.
Nice knee from Samir.
50-50 clinch being initiated here. Both men trying to establish a little bit of dominance. Barashet just changing things up a little bit with that head position now, going underneath the chin of his opponent. Very intelligent, because where the head goes, the body follows.
Phil, in weightlifting, they establish strength by who can lift the highest weight. In mixed martial arts, very often, the fighter with the greater strength establishes it right here. Who can keep who pinned up against that fence? Because once the hips are on the fence, fighters are denied the leverage they need to punch effectively.
Nice digging in for the underhook there, and reversal of the position from Samir. Can he get the hands connected? Perhaps working there for a potential inside trip, but again, these guys are flipping and reversing. In on a single is Barashet.
Barashet in, Samir countering properly.
Can he cut the angle and run the pipe a little bit on that? Denied by Samir. Oh, beautiful work. Just used a little bump off the cage, off the fence itself, to create a little bit of space and secure the takedown.
Barashet moving now into a high top half guard.
And again, you see a lot of fighters, this is a position that's become popularized recently in MMA. Guys don't necessarily try and work and scramble for the mount. They're happy to sit in almost this anchor position of the half guard and land strikes from there.
Absolutely true, Phil. In grappling, Half guard, bottom half guard is the most productive position you can be in. In MMA, it's something like half mount, and it may even be worse because you're denied the use of your hips to properly bridge your opponent away.
Have to give credit to Mohamed Samir there for working back to his feet, shrimping out and getting up. But again, Bourashid just looks to be very, very solid and hard to move here. Little knees being landed to keep Bourashid guessing, and again, Tony Bourashid just exchanges the position, now landing little pop knees of his own.
We may have seen a knee go a little bit low there, Phil. Looks like no harm, no foul.
And again, much like we saw in the first fight, these clinch exchanges where both men have an over-under position, it's incredibly taxing on the arms.
It is, Phil. Mixed martial arts, of course, requires two completely separate physiological skill sets. One, explosiveness, and two, endurance at moments when there's very little movement of the muscles at all. They're completely different, and that's why it takes a rare athlete to compete at this level in this sport.
10-second clapper just gone. Can anybody do something definitive and steal the round a little bit? Oh, that looked low. There was a knee there, perhaps looked a little bit low, but again, no fighter making anything of it. Incredibly close first round there. I think perhaps the takedown that was scored may be the component of the fight that may sway the judges just a little bit, because as we know, takedowns do score high and heavy in MMA.
Phil, I can see the judges going either way for it. I can make an excellent argument for either fighter. I personally am probably going to give it to Bourashid. What's your call?
I think that's fair. As I say, I do think the takedown was the most telling component of the first round there. And he did start very heavy with the hands. He did put the pressure on his opponent. But again, incredibly close round to judge.
Green Hill replay may be coming up. I think we talked a little bit too much, so they skipped the replay and favor us trying to play judge. We are seconds away from the Brave Combat Federation cage doors locking and round two beginning.
Both men look fresh, both men look ready to go. The Vanilla Gorilla just cleaning up a little bit of excess water there.
Round two.
And again, Bourashid takes the center straight away, trying to put the pressure on. Big swing from Samir there.
Samir clearly trying to bait his opponent and land a big counter shot.
Oh, huge hook. Actually
left hook
lands the gum shield out of the mouth of the fighter. Oh no, it was the fighter who threw the punch who lost his gum shield.
It happens when you try and land the biggest shot you can. You grunt. That grunt can drive the mouth shield from the mouth. Oh, nice calf kick by Samir.
Mohamed Samir looks like he's trying to land that one big right hand over the top. I'd like to see him, if that's the particular punch he's trying to land, I'd like to see him change levels a little bit more. Maybe even fake the takedown and come over the top with it.
What he doesn't want to do, Phil, is stay in the end of Bourashid's hands.
That's a nice kick from Bourashid.
Nice calf kick again.
Tony Bourashid needs to be careful of chasing his opponent too much, because as you get a little bit more fatigued, you stop protecting your chin just as much. Takedown attempt here from Mohamed Samir, charging Tony Bourashid against the cage. Can he use it to get the takedown in very much the same fashion as Tony did in the first round? But again, reversal of position from Tony.
Phil, I think what happened was Tony Bourashid's corner told him that was an extremely close round. We need more this round, and we are seeing a more aggressive Bourashid in the last minute and a half.
Midway point of the second round, as you alluded to there, Kirik. At the minute, Bourashid defending the takedown attempt, but again, a change, reversal of position. And again, the most taxing aspect of mixed martial arts is that 50-50 clinch position. To the uninitiated, it may not necessarily look like a lot is happening, but this is so draining, so taxing on both men.
And of course, knees to the body pop in there occasionally, which makes it all the more challenging. We do have the beginnings of a guillotine attempt.
He's momentarily had the hands connected, trying to go potentially for a high elbow. I think he's abandoned the guillotine. May just try and reverse the position.
Bourashid may be trying to take the back.
Oh, that's a good knee to the sternum. Borashid needs to be wary here of a potential trip, a judo trip coming from his opponent, but Borashid again with smart head position, and as we see often in amateur mixed martial arts, they can get that little bit lower with the head because they don't need to worry about the knee to the head coming from their opponent.
Absolutely, Phil. I think Borashid may be making a mistake and Samir doing the right thing and throwing these little shots in here. Attempting to pin your opponent on the wall by itself is not going to impress the judges. If your back is against the wall and you're still landing a few shots, you may be ahead in the judges' eyes. We've got short time.
Figure four grip here. Maybe
Key
trying
lock
to
is
work
in
for that
place.
Kimura. Does he have enough time to get that? I don't think he's just going to be beaten by the clock, but again showing just how dangerous he is. But now comes the question, Kirik. That was perhaps the most frenetic exchange that both men had. Do you give the points to the takedown scored by Borashid, or do you give the points to the submission attempt from Samir?
Phil, I always say that the most likely way to tell who won the round is how it ended, and the way it ended was Mohamed Samir in on a key lock from bottom. These were both extremely hard rounds to call, but I am calling this 19-19 right now. I think whoever wins the next round wins the fight.
So potentially all to play for going in to the third and final round of what's been a really intricate, interesting bout.
Vanilla Gorilla runs a tight ship, barking everybody out of the Brave Combat Federation cage. Doors are locked. Fighters are loaded, and I do believe whoever wins this round wins this fight.
Back when Aaron Wallace was a competitive fighter himself, he used to compete at middleweight. It's been a while since that man's seen 84 kilos.
He's still a middleweight, all his weight's in his middle.
Third and final round. Slip there from Samir. Again, Borashid taking the center as he has. That's a beautiful straight right down the pipe.
Oh, it flies.
I think now Borashid might have a little bit more of an inkling of the range here. And he does seem to be a little bit longer than his opponent, and potentially that 1-2, if he could land that again.
Phil, Samir is very intelligently trying to counter the range with the hands with calf kicks. You can kick the calf effectively without being in range to get struck or counter-struck.
Again in the clinch. Tony Borashid trying to bring his opponent up a level so he can't get those hands connected and force the takedown. Has one underhook, has one overhook, and intelligent work from Samir, constantly landing little strikes. May try for the high crotch takedown here.
Absolutely, Phil. If I have to guess, this fight is going to go to a decision. I think it could go to Samir because he was more aggressive with his strikes throughout.
You can hear middleweight champion of the world, Mohamed Fakhreddin, telling Tony Borashid to let the hands go a little bit more. Because when he got into almost a slightly more relaxed state, he did land that beautiful straight right down the pipe. Slightly telegraphed takedown there from Mohamed Samir. But he's doing a good job of just wearing on Tony Borashid right now. But if either fighter were to do something definitive like a takedown or a big strike, they potentially could steal this round and the fight itself.
It could, but I think we're going to see Samir continue to try and land those little knees. There you saw it right there. I do believe that's what's going to probably win him this round. He was just a little bit more aggressive with the striking.
Again, trying to get in on that single, has the hands connected. Needs to get underneath his opponent just a little bit more. Aaron Wallace called for the break, a little bit of inactivity. And if anything, this is going to be a good thing for Tony Borashid. Needs to be careful of dropping the hands a little bit when he's throwing those kicks. Could get countered with something over the top. And again, another takedown attempt from Mohamed Samir, landing right back into that clinch position, reversed by Tony Borashid. And now it's Tony in on the takedown. He has the hands connected. Again, that figure four grip from Mohamed Samir. Big takedown, but That Kimura grip is right there. Can he do something with it?
If he does, Phil, he's got 10 seconds to do it.
He lets it go, abandons it.
Back to his feet. Fight could be won in the next couple of seconds.
Not so much.
Over!
Not so much pulling guard as falling into it, and that is one of the closest fights I have seen in a very long time. I think it's going to take the judges a little bit of time to render their decisions, because that's a knife-edge kind of fight, Carrick.
It is. We've got a fantastic regulatory team here. We've got fantastic judges. They are dotting their I's. They're crossing them twice. If I had to guess, by the slightest of margins, I would give that fight to Mohamed Samir, but I could easily make an excellent argument for it to go the other way, and I wouldn't blink if it does.
Some beautiful calf kicks landed there by Mohamed Samir, and then you see that picture-perfect straight right down the middle from Tony Burrashid. So again, both fighters could stake a legitimate claim to winning this fight. It really comes down to how the judges seen it.
It does, and striking is extremely hard to judge. Do you give it to the person that landed more shots that weren't as effective, or fewer shots that were extremely effective? And I think if you look at the punch stats for this bout, that is what we saw. Tony Burrashid landed the most devastating shots of the fight, but Mohamed Samir landed more of them by a significant margin. It, at that point, becomes a judge's decision. Literally, it's a judgment call. And that's why they say never leave it in the hands of the judges. Still, both fighters have got to be happy with their performance. They're exhausted, spent right now. Didn't hold anything back.
Tony Burrashid raising the hands aloft. He thinks he's done enough to get the win.
Phil, if I was him, I would think I won. When you see a fighter raise their hand, even if you don't think they won, it's not that they're being cocky. It's not that they're playing to the judges. It's they know what they did. He knows he landed some beautiful, clean shots, and he believes, not unreasonably, that that's enough to give him the decision.
Little fist bump there, a moment shared between the two fighters.
Nothing but love in the Brave Combat Federation cage. The champ has now walked across the Brave Combat Federation cage, shook hands with his own student's opponent. Everybody is smiles and hugs.
And just as I thought, it is taking the judges a little bit of time to render their decision, just showing what a close fight that was. And just as I say that, the Roaring Lion is ascending the steps into the Brave Arena. Carrick, we have a decision.
All right, Brave Nation, another classic battle inside the Brave 44 cage. After 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards. Your first judge scores about 29-28 Samir. Your next judge scores about 29-28 Burrashid. And your third judge scores about 29-28 for your winner by split decision. From KHK MMA in the red corner, Mohamed Samir.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Winner by a split decision and a knife-edge fight. Mohamed Samir representing KHK Bahrain. And if anything, you have to give props to Tony Burrashid as well. That was an incredibly close fight.
Fantastic fight, Phil. As I said earlier, that could have gone either way, and I would have been equally happy. We've got our Green Hill replay now. Green Hill is our apparel and gear sponsor. It is, in my opinion, the best apparel and gear in mixed martial arts. You're seeing some of the early action when Tony Burrashid was really taking it to his opponent, and then it got reversed, as we saw over and over again. Burrashid in on a takedown, Burrashid landing knees to the body, Burrashid landing another knee, looking for a sweep. May have been a little bit of a low blow there, but as I said earlier, no harm and no foul. There's that calf kick. If there was one single thing that determined who won that fight, it was the multiple calf kicks that Mohamed Samir landed on his opponent and visibly took away from Burrashid's ability to move effectively. This is either the first or the second time that we saw Samir get taken down, but he did land with a key lock. He's now using that key lock to try to tap his opponent, but also potentially to reverse positions and get up on top. Again, we're back up at standing. Tony Borashid landing kicks at distance, and again, you saw Mohammed Samir's calf kicks. As I said earlier, I believe that is what gave that, and his relentless striking in the clinch is what gave him the decision, and we are just about to watch Mohammed Samir awarded the victory.
This bout is presented by Brave Nutrition. Behind the athlete, there are hours of training. Behind every hard training is Brave Nutrition. Abbas Khan makes his professional debut tonight at Brave CF 44 as he takes on Jan Lias, the first ever fighter from Luxembourg to fight for Brave CF. Coming up next, a clash of lightweight top prospects between Khan and Lias.
Brave Nation, this next battle is 3 5-minute rounds in the lightweight division. Introducing your first warrior. Fighting out of the blue corner, this man's a mixed martial artist with a professional record of 3 wins and no losses. He stands 181 centimeters tall and weighs a ready 70.4 kilograms. Representing Street Sport Luxembourg and Bulgarian top team, and fighting out of Luxembourg, give it up for Jan Lias! And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, this man's a mixed martial artist making his professional debut. He stands 177 centimeters tall and weighs a ready 70.7 kilograms. Representing KHK MMA and fighting out of the magnificent Kingdom of Bahrain by way of Pakistan. Please welcome Abbas Khan. Your referee is Rabin Lightsaber.
There you see the tail of the tape. Little bit of a height advantage to Jan Lias. Both men weighing in at the lightweight limit. Rabin Saber is your man in the middle. Professional action. Elbows, knees. We're all good to go.
Phil, Abbas Khan's base is in boxing. Jan Lias, as you said, has the reach, at least in the beginning. I think we're going to see a boxing match.
Can see both men switching stances, getting a little bit of a measure of one another. Jan just that little bit wider. Nice kick there. Showing a little bit of traditional martial arts with those kicks, but Abbas Khan charging forward. Those little 4-ounce gloves do get through the gaps that amateur gloves do not.
That kick you saw a commitment to. The first 3 kicks that Jan Lias threw were tentative. They were intended to give him information that he needs to land that hard shot. He needs to sense how quick are his opponent's reactions, how far away is his opponent, how good is his footwork. He threw 3 kicks, he downloaded that information, and then boom, he threw a big kick. You're going to see Abbas Khan try and answer with big punches. This may be feet versus hands at near full power now.
And I think you're right there, Carrick. I think what we're going to see from Jan Lias is keeping the fight at kicking range, but he needs to be wary. That's the troublesome part of throwing those kicks. You can leave yourself open to a takedown if that kick is caught. Nice 1-2, solid boxing fundamentals from Abbas Khan. Mixing it up a little bit with the kicks as well. I like the way he's chaining those attacks together.
Adding to a wrinkle, Phil, Jan Lias is in a southpaw stance. He has his right side forward, and that does make Abbas Khan's boxing a little compromised. It's very hard to box against a southpaw.
Obviously, Jan Lias being that southpaw, that liver kick could potentially be open to him coming from his rear kick.
Down!
Oh, he dropped him with a straight.
Abbas Khan in on the hips, looking for a takedown. Fight goes up to standing. And now it's a grind on the wall.
Abbas Khan showing his durability and powers of recovery, but again, nice long attacks here from Jan Lias, but he gets clipped by Abbas.
Phil, strategically, Jan Lias is playing a very smart game. He's trying to keep this at distance where he's got the advantage.
Again, serious speed. It's almost as if he's hitting that straight on the switch, and again drops him with the straight.
And again, Abbas Khan in on the hips.
Khan needs to be wary of giving up his back. As we did say, Jan Lias does have 2 wins by rear naked choke, 3 total by submission. Incredibly dangerous grappler. Tried to free him off with that upward Tamala style elbow. But that straight left coming from the southpaw stance is money for Jan Lias.
Brave Nation, when a fighter is a southpaw, when his right foot is in the front, he needs to get that right foot on the outside of his opponent's lead left foot. That opens up a straight left hand right straight down the middle that is unguarded.
That's 3 times he has landed it clean. Twice he has dropped Abbas Khan. Oh, flying knee!
Knee to the chin.
Huge knee and big ground and pound from Jan Lias. That's it. Reben Sieber calls an end to the action.
Over.
Jan Lias extends his record to 4 wins. His first win by a stoppage due to strikes. His 4th win in the very first round. Jan Lias has just announced himself on the global stage.
Fantastic win for Jan Lias. Abbas Khan did get his opportunity to turn pro in the Brave cage. It just proved to be a little bit too much for him tonight.
When I come through, shut down, yeah.
You can see just how much it means to Jan Lias and his coach Miomir Vucic. That is an absolutely huge win on the global stage, and we might just have a dark horse here in the lightweight division.
Ladies and gentlemen of Brave Nation, Phil and I have both been in the cage as competitors and as coaches. The euphoria is unbelievable. The sadness, the disappointment is unbelievable. This is as emotional a moment as you get in sports.
And there you see that beautiful flying knee, follows up with some heavy ground and pound, forcing referee Reben Sieber to call an end to the fight. And Jan Lias showing that he just doesn't have moves inside the cage, he got moves on the dance floor. And there you see elation to despair. Abbas Khan obviously crestfallen, but incredible skill set. He'll be back. Carlos Kramer, make it official.
All right, what an explosive end to this bout at Brave CF 44. This comes to an end at 3 minutes and 7 seconds of the very first round. Your winner by TKO due to strikes, Jan Lias!
Jan Lias takes the win. Another stoppage in the very first round in his professional career. Like I say, Kirik, Jan Lias might just be a little bit of a dark horse in this lightweight division.
Phil, I was extremely impressed with his strategy, and I was extremely impressed with his skill set. I was incredibly impressed by how quickly he downloaded the information that he needed and then took his opponent out of there. Again, let's walk through the Green Hill replay. Beginning of the fight, Abbas Khan using his boxing skills to great success. But there it was, that straight left hand that dropped him for the first time. May have scrambled him just a little bit, may never have recovered. You see that right foot on the outside of the opponent's feet, and again, the straight left hand lands. This is a beautiful south kick strategy, and then a flying double knee to the jaw. That was the beginning of the end. Referee watched the fighter taking punishment and wisely decided to protect him so he can come back and fight again soon.
This bout is sponsored by Brave Energy Drink. Only the best to power your best effort. Fortune favors the brave. Gerson Pereira will make his much-anticipated Brave CF debut as the Jiu-Jitsu black belt meets Bayer Steppen, a symbol of the Mongolian mixed martial arts scene. Coming up next, Gerson Pereira meets Bayer Steppen in an excellent Bantamweight showdown.
All right, Brave Nation. This next battle is 3 5-minute rounds in the Bantamweight division. Introducing your first warrior. Fighting out of the blue corner, This man's a mixed martial artist with a professional record of 8 wins and 3 losses. He stands 174 centimeters tall and weighs a ready 61.6 kilograms. Fighting out of Bars MMA Elista and the Republic of Kamukia. Give it up for Bahir Steppen! And his opponent. Fighting out of the red corner. This man's a mixed martial artist with a professional record of 12 wins and 7 losses. He stands 158 centimeters tall and weighs a ready 61.3 kilograms. Fighting out of Grow Gym in the Kingdom of Bahrain by way of Bahia, Brazil. Give it up for Gerson Bia Boy Pereira. Your referee is the Bandit, Decky Larkin.
Phil, these are two dangerous men. This fight may not make it out of the first.
And you can see the discrepancy in the height there, 158 centimeters versus 174. So it is conceivable that Bahir Steppen may try and use that length, that reach, that distance, that height. Obviously, the jiu-jitsu man may try and shoot in for the takedown and try and take away the potential advantage of Bahir Steppen. Steppen right now stalking Bia Boy.
Bia Boy showing clean footwork, keeping just enough distance, but shot to the chin.
Beautiful front kick right to the
He's
chops.
fine, touched his opponent's hands, just as a little show of respect.
Even elicits a little bit of a smile. That's a big kick, but
Showed he can kick too.
Gerson telegraphed it just a little bit by looking down at the leg. You can see he's very respectful of the striking of Bahir, starting to bite a little bit on those feints.
Interesting stance by Bia Boy. He's a little bit more sideways than would be normal for a fighter with his skill set. I believe that side stance, that bladed stance, is so he can explode forward quickly. Let's see if we see some of that in the coming seconds.
Bahir just taking the initiative and the center of the cage, and as I say, looks to be doing a little bit of stalking, showing the diversity of his attacks with the head kick, just shy with the spinning back kick.
And Bia Boy nods again in appreciation. Both these two are having the time of their life.
That's a lovely, cheeky little pop uppercut with the rear uppercut. That's some nice work, just popping that jab. So far, it's Bahir who's really taken the initiative with the striking. Just as I say that, a kick from Gerson.
Gerson needs just a little bit more distance between that fence and his back. He can't be within, say, 7 or 8 inches of it. He needs to give himself about 15 inches.
And I am loving the degree of pressure that Bahir is putting on Gerson. Anytime Gerson tries to elude, to be evasive, Bahir is just right in his face, popping that jab, a pop knee. Just landed a little bit shy. I think Gerson was able to cover up. But again, with being considerably shorter than Bahir, there is scope there for a knee to be popped right up the middle. Nice inside leg kick.
Again, Phil, as I said, Bia Boy loves to strike. He's right now doing what he loves to do. Is it the right thing for him to do to win this fight? That I'm less certain of.
Well, he does have 6 wins by way of KO or TKO, so he has shown that he does have power in his hands.
Perfectly timed counter to that low kick.
I think Gerson's showing his hand just a little bit here. With every strike that lands, he's reacting as if to give the impression that right in front of us here, Bahir unloading a little bit. And again, Bahir just stays right in the face of Bia Boy.
Brave Nation, in the first 1 to 3 minutes of a fight, both fighters are trying to download information on their opponent. How quick is the opponent's reflexes? How quick are they tonight? How quick do their feet move? After 1 to 3 minutes, they have those answers.
Oh, that's a beautiful.
And Bahir Steppen has the answer now. He's found his range. He's starting to land devastating shots.
And again, I think he's just going to turn up the frequency of his attacks, turn up the intensity just a little bit, putting a little bit more pop onto them shots. Again, trying to get a little bit of a read with those feints, and that's a beautiful lead hook. Oh, he caught him a little bit with that lead hook.
Caught him in the eye. Fighter is down.
Oh, that could be the beginning of the end.
Phil.
Big round and pound being landed by Bahir.
Brave Nation, that was not an illegal eye poke. It was a clean shot to the eye, but a clean shot to the eye can feel exactly like a finger accidentally sliding in.
And I think you may just see Bahir perhaps taking a step back and letting his opponent get up because he is winning the striking exchanges on the feet.
Phil, it's also possible because Bahir Stepan's strikes are so powerful that we do have some damage to the eye orbital on the part of Gerson Biaboy Pereira.
Decky Larkin steps in, allowing Gerson to get back to his feet.
For the third time, Biaboy has checked his eye.
And if you're Bahir, you're bound to notice that, so why not target that? Pop off with the jab.
This is chess. This is physical chess. Bahir knows that. He's probably going to try and set up something else and then land the shot you're talking about. There it was.
Again, a really clean little pop lead uppercut. And everything that Bahir is throwing right now seems to be landing.
Biaboy throws his hands apart, invites it on, brings it on. He is uncowed, getting hit, but by no means out.
Bahir has definitely found his range, and at the moment, everything that Gerson seems to be throwing just lands a little bit short of the mark.
Oh, devastating shot!
Oh, saved by the bell. Was that on the cup? I think it may have just been above the cup level.
Phil, I'm hoping they bring us a replay of that so we can watch it. That
Fight's
fight
over.
Is over.
Decky Larkin has called an end to the action. Again, I'd like to see a replay.
Ladies and gentlemen of Brave Nation, Decky Larkin asked Gerson Biaboy Pereira if he could get up and go to his corner. The answer was no. Decky made the determination that this fight was over. If you can't make it up off the floor, in order to get to your corner, you cannot safely fight. This organization is all about fighter health and safety, and it was protected here. Gerson Biaboy Pereira looks sad, but he does not look injured at this point.
Now, initially, I would like to see the replay of that because my first thoughts were that it was a legal kick. I think it landed just on the midriff and was a fight-ending TKO, but
Phil, I did not get a clear view of it, but my partial view showed me that was, in fact, a legal technique.
So again, I would like to request a replay of that if possible, guys. But let's talk about, now that we don't know yet about the finish, but here's the replay leading up to it.
First knockdown. Phil, this is when we thought that we thought this might be the beginning of the end, and there it was.
That's beautiful.
Hammer shot.
That is a beautiful spinning back kick. It landed right on the money. Again, my initial thoughts were confirmed there. He landed it because he had tried to throw it a couple of times. With each attempt, he got that little bit closer, landed it with ruthless proficiency, spinning back kick to the liver, KO. Congratulations, Bahir Stepan.
Absolutely fantastic technique and strategy from the man who won tonight, Bahir Stepan from the Republic of Kalmykia.
All right, Brave Nation, what another exciting and explosive battle inside the cage. This one comes to an end when referee Decky Larkin calls for the stoppage at the end of the first round. Your winner, Bahir Stepan!
Push it to the max. We light the fuse, but don't explode. Force of the gods, we take control of the world. Cities of gold.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the official finish coming at just the last second of the very first round. Bahir Stepan with the spinning back kick TKO. Beautiful work from the man from the Republic of Kalmykia.
We've got a Green Hill replay now. Walking through the action. What you need to understand about Steppen is that he is a strategist. He was not simply out there throwing shots at random. He was going to the head and then the body. He was coming from the outside in a loop and then driving right in. This was the beginning of the end. This was a shot. I believe it was to the outside eye orbital. It is a legal and effective technique in mixed martial arts. It dropped boy down to the ground and caused him considerable discomfort. The fight, of course, ended with an absolutely unbelievable spinning back kick to the liver. That is as perfect a mixed martial arts technique as ever you will see in the Brave Combat Federation cage. And there is the proud representative of the Republic of Kalmykia having his hand raised by Decky Larkin.
This bout is brought to you by Brave Gym. Training for mind, body, and spirit. Brave. It's more than a gym. Dominic Schober is looking to get his first Brave Combat Federation victory as he goes up against Mwazwandile Halongwa, the knockout machine, fighting out of South Africa. Coming up next, Dominic Schober meets Mwazwandile Halongwa in a middleweight bout of epic proportions.
All right, Brave Nation, don't blink, as this next battle is 3 5-minute rounds in the Brave CF Middleweight Division. Introducing your first warrior. Fighting out of the blue corner, this man's a mixed martial artist with a professional record of 5 wins and 1 loss. He stands 180 centimeters tall and weighs a ready 83.8 kilograms. Fighting out of Junkyard MMA in South Africa, please welcome Mwazwandile Snakebone Halongwa. And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner. This man's a mixed martial artist with a professional record of 11 wins and 8 losses. He stands 180 centimeters tall and weighs a ready 83.7 kilograms. Fighting out of Basic Sports Club in Vienna, Austria. Give it up for Dominic the Dom Schober. Our referee inside the cage is Raven Lightsaber.
There we have the tail of the tape, 29 and 30 respectively. Everything else is virtually identical. Raven Saber, your man in the middle, and I am absolutely buzzed for this fight.
So too, Phil, are these fighters. It's on!
Woo! Huge kick to open up from Mwazwandile. He's been working diligently on his takedown defense in order to keep the fight where he feels most comfortable. That is on the feet.
Fantastic footwork from Snakebone. Snakebone's now down on the ground. We're going to get a chance to see how much he's had an opportunity to work on his groundwork.
And this is exactly where, if you were a more cerebral fighter like Dom is, it's where you would want to take the fight. You know that it's pretty much 50-50 in the stand-up, but if you take your man down, that's where you have the distinct advantage.
What we're going to get an opportunity to see here is if Snakebone has had the opportunity to work on his stand-ups, and it looks like he has. He's got the underhook. He's got a half guard on one side, wants to get in his elbow and then clear that leg out of there while keeping his head as vertically as possible. If he doesn't, he can get caught in that guillotine, and that can be it.
He does need to be wary of the guillotine, as Dom does have 5 wins.
He's hand fighting, and he's up, and a knee, and a shot, and a knee, and a knee.
Needs to be wary of what he's doing with those fingers. Can't be putting them out like that. But again, that's bound to be a huge feather in the cap for Mwazwandile getting back up like that. Will Dom choose to go for the takedown again, or will he stand and bang a little bit?
As you said, Phil, that was a huge confidence booster. Mwazwandile now knows if he gets taken down, he can get back up and do what he would rather do, which is punch and kick.
Dom tried the high kick and paid for it a little bit, got clipped as he got up. There's
that
that
was the spinning elbow
fist.
attack. We remember what happened the last time one of those landed. So do 10 million other people.
The big man wants to go viral, and he's mixing it up beautifully with the kicks. That's a big head kick. He's opening up right now on Dom.
Legs are about to go.
Tries to pop that elbow. And again, it's a relentless attack. Will he force the Dom into the takedown? And he's opened him up. This is huge. Has the tie clinch. Throws him to the ground. Kick to the body.
Fight
Huge
maybe
strike.
almost over. Revan is watching carefully. Again, fighter health and safety is the greatest concern in brave combat. Revan's watching carefully.
Mandile just picking
Oh,
his shots
shot
right now.
lands!
That's absolutely huge. Will he choose to attack the body? Can Dom get back to his feet? And he's turned his back a little bit. Big knees being landed. Ferdy Bassoon calling for more from his man.
Dom Schober still in this fight, almost made it up, went in for a single.
Needs to be wary. That looked like that knee was close to being landed on a downed opponent, but huge ground and pound being landed here by Mzwandile Longwa.
Huge props to the Dom for staying in this fight. That's an amount of pressure that very, very few human beings can withstand.
And he just passes that guard seamlessly, throws the legs to the side, maybe trying to set up it looked momentarily like he's trying to set up a Peruvian necktie, could be switching to a Darce, but he seems like he's just happy to land punches at will here.
I have to be honest, Phil, what Snakebone wants to do right now is back up, call his opponent up. His opponent is now compromised mentally, he's compromised physically, he wants to get this fight back up, and it looks like that's where we have it. Now, Snakebone, as you see, wants to make a little bit of distance, secure an underhook, and then reverse positions and get out of there. I believe we're going to be looking at, I believe the doctor is now going to check a cut over the eye of Dom Schober.
And that cut does look like it's just right above the eye and is leaking. But again, this could be, if the fight continues, this could be a positive for Dom, as it's giving him a little bit of time to get his senses back.
It is. Ladies and gentlemen, a Brave Nation, a cut can be very, very minor and look terrible. There can be a lot of blood there, but it can be literally of no medical significance, or it can be a tiny, tiny cut, but if it's in exactly the right spot over an important nerve, it can end the fight.
It looks like it's right on the eyelid, so it's not above the eye going down into it. And Dom Schober, of course he wants to continue fighting. That's the type of guy he is. And this is exactly what Dom wants to do. And as I said, that little reprieve might have been the best possible thing for Dom Schober. Lands a beautiful double leg, and from here, he goes to work in the dominant position.
Doesn't happen very often that getting your eye banged open is good for you, but thus far it has been for the Dom.
And I think right now we're seeing the game plan of Dom Schober. It may have been modified somewhat as the fights progress, but I think he will want to take Mzwandile down. He's trying to work on a guillotine here, but it's an awkward position. He's hooked up a leg. He's getting a little bit more torque on this.
He does have some pressure on the side of the neck. It's only on one side. At this point, it's a slow choke. It could even be a neck crank. It's not pleasant to be in, but it's not going to put the lights out yet. Snakebone has 44 seconds to remain in this fight, and he is now out of that guillotine choke attempt.
Dom now trying to free him off and perhaps land a big elbow. Can Mzwandile get back to his feet, or can Dom Schober change the tide of this fight with some nasty ground and pound?
Again, Mzwandile now has the underhook. He's on his elbow. He may switch to his hand. Then he's going to elevate his hips, and you're going to see his left leg sneak out from between there, and he'll be up to standing if possible.
But Dom Schober is an absolute dog when it comes to a fight. He'll be in there right to the very last second. Nice little short elbows being landed here by Dom.
Excellent round by both fighters. Both fighters had great moments in here. I think Snakebone took that 10-9, but as I said, I've spent a lot of time in South Africa. Huge respect for the Zulu people. Maybe I'm a little biased. What do you think, Phil?
I think it was an incredibly interesting round. You've seen Mzwandile open up with some huge strikes. He landed a massive shot that opens up a cut on the eye of Dom Schober. But then after that, Dom looked a little bit more re-energized, revitalized. I think you're going to see Dom come out in the second round, maybe try and set up the takedown with his hands, but I don't think he is going to want to spend too much time standing with Mzwandile.
Agreed 100%. I think he now has a clear path to victory in this fight,
Yeah.
and it is not standing and banging. I think he's going to trade a little bit, try and lure his opponent into overcommitting, level change, get in on those hips, try and get topside control, and bang his way to a victory.
if you're the head coach, Ferdy Bassoon, of Nzwandile, you're going to be telling him to keep the base wide, use your movement, and be aware of the takedown, which I think is inevitable from Dom Schober.
It is indeed, and what you can do to shut that takedown, among other things, is to move in a circular fashion. If Snakebone moves straight forward behind those shots, I do believe he's going to get put on his back. He wants to play from the outside a little bit and circle. We're going to find out in just a second whether he does so. And there he is. He's circling away from his opponent now, keeping at distance.
Dom does have a little bit of professional boxing experience, so he'll be trying to cut the Brave Arena off and create angles for himself to get in on that takedown. Big kick landed on the arms by Nzwandile.
Woo!
Those front kicks are so dangerous.
Kyokushin Mai Gary from the South African fighter.
See Dom, I think he just looks like he's biding his time, trying to set something up here. Big swing from Nzwandile. Interestingly, Dom choosing to stand. Obviously has confidence in his hands, trying to land that big right. Nice movement from Nzwandile. That's a huge kick, but reply from Dom. I would like to see Dom use his strikes to pressure Nzwandile against the cage and then try and score a takedown from there. As we know, it's so much harder to score a takedown when you're out in the open of the cage.
Nzwandile is choosing his shots carefully now. He's trying to throw the shots from the outside far enough away so he doesn't get taken down to the ground where he does not want to be.
As you say, there's that circular lateral movement being implemented by Nzwandile. And he's landing big kicks to the body, and that's almost like if you're playing it like Street Fighter or something like that, it depletes the energy bar. And the energy bar. Oh, spinning elbow! That is huge from Nzwandile.
Nobody does it better.
And now he marches forward. Big knee. Could we be seeing the beginning of the end? There's the takedown from Dom Schober. Trying to control Nzwandile, and this fight is living up to expectations.
Nzwandile has to watch this neck.
This is turning into a blood and guts kind of war. Dom trying to implement that Dagestani handcuff, get a hand free and land strikes.
As I've said, Phil, positionally, one of the most dangerous points in mixed martial arts is when you're on the bottom against a cage, your opponent's on top, and you try to stand. There's a huge chance of you getting your back taken at that point.
Halfway point of the second round. This is exactly where Dom Schober wants to be. This is where he can implement his game. Smash down with elbows, but for Nzwandile on the bottom, he needs to get himself against the cage, post an arm, get back up to his feet. He cannot lay prone in this position, Carrick.
He cannot. He needs to take his right arm, reach under his opponent's arm. It's called an underhook. Pull the opponent down, try and control the opponent. He's looking for it now. Then he'll get in his elbow, then his hand. He'll elevate the hips, and that leg that you see sneaking out from between his opponent's legs will post and he'll be up. This is not where he wants to be right now.
Beautiful spinning elbow attack from Nzwandile, but Dom Schober, you have to give him credit for taking that, reverting to type, scoring the takedown, showing just how tough and durable the Austrian is.
This is mixed martial arts. This is physical chess. If you lose in one regard, you just take the game to a new level, to a new place.
Dom just forcing that forearm into the throat, almost like a gi paper cutter type submission. Nzwandile trying to dig in for the underhook. You can see him trying to get in there and perhaps showing a little bit of the relative inexperience in the MMA grappling side of things.
And it's not just an experience. South Africa, of course, had a terrible time with the COVID-19 global pandemic. He has not been able to spend the time in the gym that he wants to. Phil, we
Dom
see somebody
is open
bleeding
up.
badly.
He is wearing a crimson mask right now.
Phil, I believe that was an elbow from bottom. How much does Nzwandile Snakebone Hlongwa like to strike? So much that when he's taking punishment from bottom, he still throws an elbow, as you see right there, and I do believe it had devastating consequences.
Dom is losing a lot of blood right now. It'll be interesting to see if this fight gets to the end of the second round. If that's cleaned up, will he be allowed to continue? We know he wants to continue, but right now he is leaking like a badly installed kitchen tap.
Nzwandile on his back, needs to be on his side. From his back, though, he is landing strikes, and as we saw, at least one of them had some terribly effective consequences. There it is. That's the moment he's been waiting for. He's in on the single. He's not trying to reverse. He's trying to stand up. As he stands up, he's got to keep that head vertical or he can get caught in a guillotine. 10 seconds now.
10 seconds left, as you said. With both these men slippery, it could be advantageous for Dom to try and snap on the likes of a guillotine. Doesn't have enough time to do it, but look at the amount of blood covering the Brave arena. We thought that this was going to be a blood and guts type of war, and we are 100% correct.
Phil, we do see the doctor coming in to attend to the fighter.
How much does Dom Schober have left? He's taken some serious punishment. He's lost a lot of blood.
In terms of his heart, Phil, Dom Schober is 100% in here. What it comes down to at this moment is fighter health and safety. If the doctor believes that that cut could have long-term health consequences, this fight is over. And this fight is over!
Oh!
Zwandile Snakebone Plongwa is the winner!
Absolutely huge win for Nzwandile Longwa against an incredibly tough, durable veteran in Dom Schober, who you have to give full credit to for hanging in. And if you gave Dom the option, he would have continued into a third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh round.
Absolutely, he would have, Phil. This was a doctor's decision. It was made for fighter health and safety. It was the right thing to do. The fighter did not want to stop. The doctor did not want him to have long-term health consequences on his career, so the right decision was made.
And you can see it's a cut just below the left eye of Dom Schober, and he's frustrated. He wants to continue to fight. This was not his decision. He did not quit. The fight was stopped by the cage side doctor. You can see the frustration on Dom Schober. He'll be back. He's a warrior. You're looking at a Zulu warrior right now in Nzwandile Snakebone Longwa.
Phil making that moment all the more extraordinary. The fight-ending blow was landed from bottom half guard. Snakebone not happy with his performance. Great show of sportsmanship. Lifts his opponent's hands up. He was not happy with himself. He didn't like the way that fight ended up on bottom. Phil, no fighter wants the fight to end this way. You don't want the doctor to end it. You want to end it yourself.
But really, with a fighter like Dom Schober, he's the kind of guy you almost need to put his lights out to get him out of there. There's no quit in this man. A fantastic fight, fantastic performance from both men, and you can see just the nastiness of that cut. Let's throw it up to the roaring lion of Brave, Mr. Carlos Kramer, for the official decision.
All right, Brave Nation, what an incredible battle between these two elite warriors. This comes to an end when we have a doctor stoppage at the end of the second round. And your winner, out of the blue corner, from South Africa, Nzwandile Snakebone Longwa!
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen of the Brave Nation. Nzwandile Longwa with a huge win against the tough, durable veteran. Nzwandile seems to be making a habit of fighting these incredibly tough guys. His last 3 fights, Hamzat Chimaev, Jeremy Pitbull Smith, and Dom Schober. This guy does not take easy fights.
100%, Phil. And as I always say, what you're looking at, ladies and gentlemen of Brave Nation, what you're looking at is a United Nations of brotherhood and comradeship. We're here in Bahrain, Combat Kingdom, watching a sport invented and developed in Brazil between a Zulu warrior and another warrior from Austria. Brave Combat Federation is, as I said, the United Nations of brotherhood. I'm going to walk you through, Brave Nation. the action we're seeing here in replay. Snakebone is on top, raining shots down relentlessly. The Dom is trying to secure his guard. There it is. He's got the feet controlling his opponent's hips. Makes some distance. At this point, he would love to spring up, which he did. Just later, got in on those hips. Once the hands connect, that takedown is almost inevitable. Beautiful counter to that kick. Blocked the kick, passed it. Landed a low kick, but Snakebone was undeterred, roars back with devastating shots of his own, including that one. That is the spinning elbow technique that 10 million people saw go viral. And again, the Dom in on that high double, puts his opponent down, nearly reversed, but keeps it there. And this is the final moments. Your winner, Zwandile Snakebone Longwa!
This bout is presented by Brave Nutrition. Behind the athlete, there are hours of training. Behind every hard training is Brave Nutrition. John Bruin will look to continue his rise up the lightweight division when he takes on Rolando D, one of the most experienced and victorious fighters from the Philippines. Coming up next, John Bruin faces off against Rolando D in a clash of generations.
All right, Brave Nation, this next battle is 3 5-minute rounds in the lightweight division. Introducing your first warrior. Fighting out of the blue corner, this man's a mixed martial artist with a professional record of 13 wins and 9 losses. He stands 173 centimeters tall and weighs a ready 70.2 kilograms. Fighting out of D Incredible Fighting and Fitness Center, Santa Fe, Das Marinas in the Philippines. Please welcome Rolando D Incredible! And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner. This man's a mixed martial artist with a professional record of 6 wins and 1 loss. He stands 185 centimeters tall and weighs a ready 70.8 kilograms. Fighting out of Auckland, New Zealand, and representing City Kickboxing. Give it up for John Trouble Bruin! Your referee is the Bandit, Decky Larkin.
Phil, there are plus and minuses to holding shows in the empty arena. I have to tell you, one of the things I miss is the roar of the Filipino fans of Brave Combat Federation, especially when D Incredible is in the Brave Combat Federation cage.
There you see the tail of the tape. John Bruin with the height advantage, and Bruin just looks like a different animal right now. He's stalking, he's filled out. He may have, the last fight we've seen him, he maybe was a little bit boyish looking. Now he looks like a fully fledged man.
Young lion, old lion, baby.
John Bruin with that long pawing style jab. A little bit of misdirection with it perhaps. Rolando did show in his last fight that he was developing from that scrappy type fighter. He was setting up the takedowns. He was doing great work against Maciej Gierszewski. It'll be interesting to see what version we see of Rolando D Incredible tonight. For me, I think he needs to turn this into a scrappy, nasty, dirty type of fight.
Before he does that, though, Phil, he has to download some information on his opponent. So he's standing at distance, trying to draw his opponent into throwing a shot from the outside so he can get a sense of how fast John Trouble Bruin is tonight. How quick does he respond to a counter? How quickly can those feet push him out of danger? Once he's downloaded that information, you'll see D Incredible turn it on.
John Bruin keeping that lead hand nice and long, keeping something in the eye line, in the face of his opponent. Is it misdirection? Is he trying to set something up? Be interesting to see. Throwing a couple of feints here, trying to get a read on Rolando D, trying to get a reaction, trying to get him to bite on those feints. You can see both men proudly repping their country on their shorts, the Filipino flag, the feather of New Zealand on the shorts of John Bruin.
Phil, the Incredible's experience is showing here. Although he is by far the shorter fighter, he has thus far been able to maintain a distance such that the much taller John Trouble Bruin has not been able to land a shot.
Bruin still relatively young in his mixed martial arts career at 6-1, showing a maturity and a patience here. perhaps trying to just get Rolando D a little bit frustrated so he charges forward and potentially catch him with a counter. Both men exchanging kicks, and right now there is a palpable tension. You just know that at any second something explosive could happen.
Phil, the Incredible, not known for one-punch knockout power. He is more of a grinder, my favorite kind of fighter. John Trouble Bruin, I believes that he has knockout power here, and I think he's trying to set up a massive shot at this point.
Well, out of 6 victories, he does have 3 wins by way of KO or TKO and a win via submission. Showed just how dangerous his submission game was against Maciej Grzeszewski with a beautiful armbar a year ago. Almost a year to the day since Bruin's last fight, and right now he's showing that patience. He's just calmly waiting. Rolando D wading forward.
2 minutes to go. Cat and mouse game so far. Cat and mouse game played by 2 lions.
Lead leg head kick attempted by John Bruin, just caught in the arms. Lands nicely on the body of Rolando D.
Phil, Rolando D so far feels comfortable standing and trading. If he doesn't, if you see him level change and get it on the hips, it may be because he feels like he does not have the advantage standing. Thus far, though, he looks completely comfortable.
That's a very clean calf kick from John Bruin. And you can tell both men are acutely aware of how dangerous one another is. Neither man wanting to give an inch to the other.
In this circumstance, that calf kick is arguably the most effective technique you can throw. The taller fighter can, he was going for it, that taller fighter can land the calf kick and then pop back out of danger. Ordinarily, a light jab, a push kick with your front foot, a pendulum kick with your front foot, those don't cause damage. That rear leg calf kick can cause damage and allow you, if you're the taller fighter, to be safe. He went forward again. Rolando D, highly experienced veteran, able to pop out of the way.
So far, neither man has really pulled the trigger on anything substantive, but just as I say that, Rolando charging forward. John Bruin in the clinch, trying to get in on that takedown. We've shown how capable his wrestling is against Kane Cowley. Ironically enough, in the Philippines that fight took place. John right now, underhook established by Rolando. He's trying to dig in for the second one. Bruin in on a single here, may run the pipe on it or choose to get a little trip. Trying to bump that trip. 10 seconds to go. A takedown would be huge here for Bruin.
It would be monster. I do believe if he gets a takedown, he'll win the round. That's how close this round was. In the absence of a takedown, I have no idea.
Nice little shoulder bumps there from Rolando D. But again, an incredibly strategic fight on the part of both men. And it almost felt as if Rolando D just thought, screw it, and bit down on the gum shield and waded forward.
It was an extremely intelligent move on his part. He knew that at that point, the judges could go either way, and he believed, I believe correctly, that if he had landed cleanly on 2 or 3 shots as he moved forward, it would be sufficient to take the round. However, the shots as he raced forward did not land cleanly. I do not know who won that round.
Again, this is why we are a commentary team and not part of the judging consortium. But it will be interesting to see what kind of tact is adopted by both men going in. Will Bruin continue to exercise patience and counter-strike, or will Rolando D wade forward with reckless abandon?
Phil, I think both fighters' corners and both fighters have a high degree of confidence now. I think they have a good sense of where the other fighter is at, and I think they're about to turn it up just as soon as that Brave Combat Federation cage door locks.
Both men looking calm and loose. This is the 23rd fight. Oh, sorry, the 24th fight in the career of Rolando D.
This is D Incredible having a day at the office.
Bruin again with that long pawing style jab. He's now aware of the kicking game of John Bruin. But John could be mixing it up. He could be going low with the intention then of going high.
At this point, Brave Nation, both these fighters are trying one thing with the intention of landing something else.
Head kick attempt there from Rolando, but just outside of the reach. Again, now fighters are mirroring each other somewhat. You sometimes see that in mixed martial arts. One fighter adopts something, another fighter also adopts it. Both men now with long pawing style jabs. Rolando wages forward, but beautiful lead hook from John Bruin. He definitely got the attention of Rolando there. John again thought about the low kick.
If John feints with the hands, expect a kick. If he feints with the feet, expect a punch.
That was a nice leg kick to finish on the exit.
D shakes his head, said it caused no damage.
Which is usually a tell to say that you felt it.
It is indeed.
And like I say, there is that air of expectancy. It's almost as if something is brewing in the air, pun fully intended by myself. Both men trading kicks. Again, it's more of a single shot sort of battle right now, Kirik, isn't it? No man sort of throwing the combinations. They're all trying to just get the single shots off on one another.
Both of them know, Phil, what devastating counterpunchers their opponents are. Everybody, of course, corner may even be calling for it now. Follow up, but that follow-up will leave you open to a counter that could put your lights out.
You can see John just... Rolando trying to get the measure, he's now the one trying to counter-strike a little bit.
Again, Phil, Rolando does have terrific wrestling skills. He's got great ground skills. He could try to take the fight to the ground, but I think thus far he feels confident where he is. Whether the judges agree with him or not I do not know.
Rolando edging ever closer, trying to get inside the pocket. You can see him taking those little micro steps forward, trying to get inside in the pocket and have a little bit of a dust up there.
We are now halfway past the halfway point in this fight. Corners are going to want to exhort their fighters to turn it on a little bit. Time to turn it up. Tables turned a little bit. We're seeing D Incredible stalking his opponent. Left hook might have landed to a degree. Was shaken off by John Trouble Bruin. Rolando D maybe getting a little bit frustrated, throws his hand up.
Rolando's now doing a little bit of talking, maybe trying to start play a little bit of the psychological mind games.
Playing to the opponent, Brave Nation, talking to your opponent. It is a part of a fight. It's legitimate to talk to your opponent. It does get inside their head. Referees do have, at their discretion, the ability to shut it down, but this is completely respectful. Very interesting head games going on right now.
And what I like about being in the empty arena as it is due to the COVID restrictions, you can hear what the fighters are saying to each other, and that's always entertaining. Now it looks like John, who's perhaps getting a little bit frustrated.
D trying to land from the outside, not being successful thus far. John Trouble Bruin managing to stay on the outside.
Big takedown from John Bruin. That is potentially a round-winning takedown. If he can land a little bit of ground and pound from this position.
And his timing was absolutely perfect. Not just the timing to get in on those hips, but waiting until there was 30 seconds left. He believes he can hold his opponent down for 30 seconds, end the round on top. As you said, that will almost certainly give him the round.
Rolando D does, ironically, an incredible job to get back up, but beautiful head position from John Bruin with that double underhook, head under the chin, trip takedown.
Oh!
That was a little bit cheeky from Rolando.
Rolando D, a little bit frustrated because of that takedown at the end and the little exchange, those strikes that were thrown on a downed opponent. That round goes to John Trouble Bruin. This fight could now be 19-19, or Bruin may be ahead by 2. We simply do not know.
Both men landing little pot shots there, and that hook from Rolando. He was trying to get that off every time, but as you say, fantastic patience and timing from John Bruin, almost baiting Rolando into not thinking about the takedown, and just when his mind was taken off it, boom, he changes levels, ducks underneath, gets the double leg.
Phil, you and I don't know who's ahead.
Not a clue.
Not a clue. The corners don't have a clue. The fighters don't have a clue. Their corners are going to tell them, you have to go out and win this round. That is the only strategy that's rational right now. Gentlemen, go out there and take this round.
Keurig, I don't even know if winning the round will feel like enough for either man. A finish might be needed. Rolando charging forward. Put the brakes on just as he got to the middle. Well, it looks like he's going to be the one that's going to try and take the action to John Bruin. Oh, beautiful catch and reply from Rolando.
Again, the Brave Nation, the timing that these athletes show is extraordinary. Being able to catch a foot like that as it's coming in is mind-boggling.
Right now, again, in that anchor position that we've seen so many times tonight, sitting inside the half guard of your opponent. Bruin trying to lock his opponent down. A bit of a quasi neck crank. May use this to flip in transition and then become the man on top. Take Rolando one way and then bring him the other. Slowly turning, maybe going for a quasi crucifix. Oh, Rolando turns beautifully, shifts the hips.
Phil, I do love the scrambles. I've always said every fight worth having, it's won in the scrambles. That was a great scramble. Things both sides can be proud of.
Things starting to heat up a little bit in the third and final round. Nice stiff jab from John Bruin. But he gets caught with a nice shot, nice lead hook from Rolando. John's trying to get that jab off and on the takedown again. May switch to the high crotch from the single here or shelf the leg and trip takedown. He's trying to get that takedown, but Rolando's doing a good job of defending, using a little bit of a knee shield there.
Not only that, but those little short, sharp shots that Rolando D. Incredible is throwing from the right there over again on his opponent can hurt, and they can influence the judge's card.
John switching between the double and the single. Good work so far by Rolando to defend it. You may see John change levels and perhaps try and pick an ankle, but he seems to be committed to that double or that single leg right now. Rolando popping the hip and trying to clamp down on the whizzer, and good job on the defense from Rolando D.
That was a huge moment for Rolando D. When you go in on a takedown, if you finally get it, even if it took you a minute or two, that exchange is considered a win for you. If you are not able to take the opponent down and you land some shots, if your head is stuffed in there, the judges could well see it for the opponent. Big moment for D. Incredible.
I'd like to see John try and pop that jab a little bit more because he does have the advantage in the reach. That's a beautiful stepping in jab, using the momentum of Rolando D as he came in.
Two minutes left, Brave Nation.
Again.
Trouble brewing.
Bruin trying to work that jab, Carrick.
Working that clean jab from the outside. Had some luck, trying his luck again.
You can see Rolando's trying just to get the timing on it and counter it with a lead hook. Turns the hip over nicely on that leg kick.
Bruin setting something up. He's having good luck with that jab, but he's going to use it. Oh, that was low. Decky Larkin was out of view. No harm, no foul. Trouble Bruin powers through a low kick, allows the action to continue.
And if you're John Bruin, do you wait until the last 30 or so seconds and score the takedown?
He tries, but remember, he tried earlier in this round and was unsuccessful. If he's unsuccessful in that final 30 seconds and all he gets is a few shots to the melon, that's not the situation he wants to create.
Yeah, a fighter as intelligent and as much of a veteran as Rolando D will be acutely aware that that will be potentially in the game plan of John Bruin. Now they're doing a little bit of talking to one another.
Trouble brewing, starting to have big success with that jab.
Again, an incredibly close fight. Not necessarily the fight I think a lot of us were expecting. I don't think we were expecting as much of a chess match, but incredibly intriguing to watch.
This fight was tactical and strategic. That is a part of mixed martial arts.
Both guys having a little bit of a chit-chat there.
10 seconds.
John looked happy with that piece of work.
Oh, after all that trash talk, quick hug between the two of them. There he is, D. Incredible. Having a word with us. Had a word with his opponent. Had a word with us. Now he's going over to talk to his corner. Maybe he's got something he wants to shout to everybody in Brave Nation.
That is a fired up Filipino. That man is fired up. There you see the replay of the entire fight. Some nice work. And Rolando D, at 30 years old, has shown that you can teach an old dog new tricks. He is being a little bit more methodical, a little bit more considerate in his fighting style, thinking not just of biting down on the mouthpiece and wading forward. He's showing that he is developing very, very clean MMA IQ.
Phil, if I had to come up with an explanation for why he was so strategic in this fight, it's very, very simple. He was fighting for survival here. Philippines is in an economic crisis. He wants his win money and he wants his show money. If he let it all hang out for glory, he might take it, but he might not. So he fought what he thought was going to be a winning fight. Although he was the shorter fighter, drew his opponent in, countered, trash talked. It's now up to the judges to see if they see it the same way as D. Incredible.
Well, Rolando feels like he's done enough to win the fight. It'll be interesting to see what the judges have rendered.
Phil, for the first time in Brave Combat Federation history, no score that they announce is going to surprise me. You announce it 3-0 one way, 3-0 the other way, I'm not going to blink. 29-28, call it 30-30, nothing is going to make me blink.
Do you think that it was strategic and close enough to potentially be a draw, Kirik?
Absolutely. If I was God, sure, I'd call this one a draw.
Carlos Kramer, the voice of Brave Combat Federation, make it official for me.
All right, Brave Nation, what an amazing bout we just witnessed. And we go the judges' scorecards after 3 rounds. All 3 judges score the bout 29-28 for your winner by unanimous decision. Out of the blue corner, Rolando D. Incredible!
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, riding perhaps the most purple patch of his mixed martial arts career. Rolando D gets it done again.
We talked to D. Incredible before the fight. He told us he is literally fighting for survival. He hasn't been able to fight for a year. D. Incredible fighting and fitness was shuttered for over 6 months. It was allowed to open and then shuttered again for a second time. He needed this money. He got his win money. He got his show money. What you're looking at right now is the happiest man in mixed martial arts. And what we're looking at is a replay of the action. Trouble brewing, showing his devastating shots from the outside. 2 straight hands. There's that calf kick he landed over and over to great effect. D. Incredible storming back only to see a perfect level change. In on the hips, hands together. Down, D. Incredible came up and answered with a takedown of his own. Those 2 takedowns, in all likelihood, the most significant action of the fight. And what played the greatest part in the judges' decisions. With a takedown on either side, it could, as I said, have gone either way. Either way it had gone, I wouldn't have blinked. I do think, however, they got it right. So does the Incredible, and so do all the great Filipino fans of Brave Nation.
This bout is sponsored by Brave Energy Drink. Only the best to power your best effort. Fortune favors the brave. Abdul Abduragimov will look to get one step closer to getting his welterweight title back as he faces Louis Gleesman, who will look for his 8th straight victory tonight. Coming up next, a monumental welterweight clash between Abduragimov and Gleesman.
All right, Brave Nation, this next battle is 3 5-minute rounds in an explosive welterweight co-main event of the evening at Brave CF 44 in Combat Kingdom in the magnificent Kingdom of Bahrain. Introducing your first warrior. Fighting out of the blue corner, this man's a mixed martial artist with a professional record of 7 wins and 1 loss. He stands 180 centimeters tall and weighs a ready 78.9 kilograms. Representing Art Suave in Copenhagen, Denmark, please welcome Louis Spartacus Gleesman! And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, this man's a mixed martial artist with a professional record of 11 wins and 1 loss and 1 no contest. He stands 178 centimeters tall and weighs a ready 79.6 kilograms. Representing Team Ros de la Hiva in Nantes, France, please welcome the former Brave Combat Federation welterweight champion of the world, Abdul Lazy King Abduragimov. Your referee is Raven Lightsaber.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's taken me this long in the night to catch on that lightsaber is a pun. I feel embarrassed. I had to share that with you. Tail of the tape, Abdul Abduragimov, the former champion, is 25 years old. Everything else is bang on the nose. Louis Gleesman with a quiet intensity. He's ready to go. Abdul Abduragimov with that lazy king persona that he is now adopting. Nice inside leg kick from Abdul Abduragimov.
Phil, these two have come here to scrap. There's not going to be a long feeling out period where nothing significant happens.
And Abdul Abduragimov has a striking style that's unorthodox. It almost looks uncomfortable, but he throws punches from strange angles and they land. Nice
It's also
straight.
tough, Phil, because he's fighting a southpaw. That check left hook may have actually staggered his opponent momentarily.
It'll be interesting to see if either man shoots for the takedown.
Oh, clean shot right straight down the middle from the Lazy King.
Oh, Abdul Abduragimov showing a little bit of boxing IQ here, rolling with the punches.
He is indeed, Phil, and what we're seeing here, I believe, is the expression of his new nickname. He's not the Conqueror, he's the Lazy King. And what he says is he's fighting as efficiently as possible.
See, he's using the shoulder roll absolutely beautifully there, but I was about to say to you, because both of these men are such celebrated jiu-jitsu practitioners, you could potentially see a fight like this just winding up as a striking battle.
It could indeed, not because they're forced to one by the other, but I think it could end up that way because these two love to strike. These men are doing what they love to do.
Kick!
And that was a big shot.
The counter hook from Louis
Single
Gleesman.
leg down on the ground, Lazy King on top.
And here we are, we see a little bit of that jiu-jitsu scramble I was talking about. Abdul Abduragimov has incredible top game, incredible jiu-jitsu informed by Dagestani-style wrestling. And now he's just taking his time, being methodical. Louis Gleesman trying to roll with the hips. Perhaps trying to use this position to reverse. May try and roll into a knee bar. He does have one submission via knee bar.
Phil, it's difficult to see, but Gleesman is showing extraordinary strength here. He was not successful, but he did show in extraordinary core strength in that failed attempt.
He does have incredible flexibility too, and right now he's abandoned the underhook he had on the leg and is now using it to try and switch. But look at the strength of Abdulragimov, just pinning Louis Gleesman down. You see, with that underhook, you can roll out into the likes of a Darce when you're the man on the bottom. But it's incredibly difficult when you have somebody as informed as Abdulragimov in top position. He's trying to dig in for that underhook. Again, trying to get underneath that leg is Louis Gleesman, but he needs to be wary of the head-on triangle here from Abdulragimov.
It's set. Abdul needs to pass to that far side, not get reversed. Forces opponent down.
This is done!
And it's over! The Lazy King wins via submission in round 1!
Unbelievable submission. Abdulragimov might just have some of the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in MMA right now. It is like a hot knife through butter. As soon as he locked up the arm, it was game over. That is as close to a perfect fight as you can get in professional mixed martial arts, Keurig.
Phil, that was as perfect a melding of wrestling and jiu-jitsu as you will ever see. Perfect top pin right into a submission that was so tight. It was over before it was fully sunk. And the Lazy King looks on calmly as his followers on bent knee take a picture of him. Abdulragimov, the Lazy King, victorious!
And you can tell just how impressive that submission was, because Louis Gleesman tried everything he could to power out of it. And he's incredibly strong, Keurig. But for Abdulragimov to sink that up so quickly with such ruthless proficiency and just cut across to the side expertly, you see Louis trying to roll out of that, trying to use strength, but that illustrates just how tight the squeeze is of Abdulragimov. I need to take a seat. Carlos Kramer, make it official.
All right, Brave Nation, what an explosive finish. All right, Brave Nation, what an explosive finish to our co-main event of the evening. This comes to an end at 2 minutes and 50 seconds of round 1. Your winner by head and arm triangle, Abdul Lazy King Abdulragimov.
Congratulations for all in the Brave Combat Federation cage. Louis Spartacus Gleesman did nothing wrong. He fought well. Abdul the Lazy King, Abdulragimov, fought better. While we prepare for the virtual interview forced by COVID-19, we're going to look at the replay. That was arguably the single best shot of the entire fight. Lazy King, Randall. Oh, maybe that was the best shot. High right kick to the temple. And there was the single leg takedown that was the beginning of the end in this fight. You see the bottom player, you see Spartacus getting a bottom half guard, but he was not able to keep his fighter off. There's the head and arm choke, and there is the tap that ended the fight. Lazy King Abdulragimov was victorious. Louis Spartacus Gleesman will be back. One more tap, one more view. You can see the face exploding with red. That's the blood pressure driving so high up into the head that there is no choice but to either nap or tap. Spartacus chose wisely to tap. Fight ends in round number 1, and there is some excitement in the corner.
This bout is brought to you by Brave Gym. Training for mind, body, and spirit. Brave. it's more than a gym. Clayton Silva will hope to become the first man to defend the Brave CF lightweight world title when he meets Amin Ayoub, the top contender and submission specialist from Nantes, France. Coming up next, Clayton Silva defends his crown against Amin Ayoub.
Two men enter. Only one man leaves with his arm raised in victory. Who comes out victorious in this amazing main event of Brave CF 44? It's time to find out. Let's introduce our two main event warriors. But before we begin, I have one question for you and one question only. For all those watching in the magnificent kingdom of Bahrain and the millions watching around the world, Brave Nation, are you ready for war? Your three judges for this bout are Hadi Muhammad Ali, Paddy Doherty, and we have our last man, Aaron Wallace. The referee in charge of the bout is the bandit Decky Larkin. The lightweight world title bout for Brave CF 44 is sanctioned by the Bahrain MMA Federation and its president, Mohammed Camber. This battle is presented by the Wyndham Garden Manama, our hospitality partners for Brave CF 44 and Combat Kingdom. Brave Nation, introducing your warriors for this main event. Your first warrior, fighting out of the blue corner. This man's a mixed martial artist with a professional record of 14 wins and 4 losses. He stands 177 centimeters tall and weighs a ready 70.1 kilograms. Representing Bulgarian top team, Ross de la Hiva, and fighting out of Nantes, France, please welcome the challenger, Amin Fierceness Ayoub! And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner. This man's a mixed martial artist with a professional record of 15 wins and 2 losses. He stands 190 centimeters tall and weighs a ready 70.1 kilograms. Representing Full House and fighting out of Belo Horizonte, Brazil. Give it up for the reigning, defending, undisputed Brave Combat Federation lightweight champion of the world, Clayton Predator Silva! For referee instructions, it's the bandit, Decky Larkin.
All right, gentlemen, you've been over the rules. Obey my commands all the time. If I tell you stop, you stop and break clean. Any questions? Any questions? Hook them up and let's go.
Brave Nation, you are about to witness arguably the toughest challenge in all of sports. 5 rounds of 5 minutes of mixed martial arts fighting, but it is not going to go 5 rounds.
Decky Larkin almost had to get involved and separate these two guys before the fight even became official. Speaking of official, we are underway in the main event at Brave Combat Federation 44. Big kick to open up from Clayton Silva.
Predator stalking, feinting, and landing. Low kick was checked solidly.
Oh, beautiful short hook from Amin Ayoub just as Clayton was coming in.
Amin Ayub seems to have developed his timing already, but with that said, Clayton Predator Silva lands a shot to the face.
Spinning back fist attempt by Fierceness. Has the double underhooks. May try and trip an inside or outside leg here. Beautiful
Successful
outside trip.
in. The Predator's back to standing.
Predator pops right back up, but Amin still has those double underhooks. This is already turning into an incredible battle. As we know, Clayton Silva can snatch on a submission from anywhere, so you have to be respectful. Potentially looked like he was trying to go for the back.
Predator swarming. So an opportunity to get in the hips. Hands are together and the fighter is down.
Needs to be wary of the guillotine choke, something Amin Ayub is particularly well versed in. He did beat Jamal Chan via third round guillotine in his Brave CF debut.
Head pops out. Expect a rain of elbows to come. Clayton Predator Silva applying pressure to the face so he can control his opponent while moving his head back. Amin Ayub very carefully and cleverly controlling his opponent's arms, having mixed results.
Clayton Silva just taking his time methodically, working through his processes right now. May try and just pop that leg out and escape either into the full mount or into the side control position, but as you say at the minute, Amin Ayub is doing everything he can to lock up the BJJ brown belt.
Brave Nation, it can be a little bit hard to see, a little bit hard to appreciate, but what Amin Ayub is doing right now is absolutely fantastic.
He just ate a couple of short punches for his trouble. He's trying to get out onto his hook, onto his hip and try.
Armbar attempt!
He's trying to hit that armbar typed in.
Predator is out!
This is a beautiful display of groundwork from both men. You can see Rolando D keeping a close eye on the action. I've also been talking to Sam Patterson today, who said that he is the rightful #1 contender, and he is keeping a very close eye on this fight.
Second submission attempt, Phil. There was the beginnings of an omoplata by Amin Fierceness Ayub, but it was denied by Predator.
Predator using those long limbs to try and get off some offense, but again needs to be wary of the omoplata. Amin Ayub showing just how much of a dangerous submission fighter he is as well. Absolutely frenetic pace set by both men in the opening stanzas. Surely this is not sustainable for five-minute rounds in the championship bout.
Phenomenal guard being shown by Ayub here. He's showing exactly what to do when you're on your back and you've got a dangerous world-class striker on top of you. He's controlling the hips,
again,
and he's
hit that
shifting
arm
him out,
bar.
looking for the armbar.
I can see a little bit of blood already. I'm not sure who that blood is coming from, but that looks like a deep armbar. Predator Silva doing the right thing by staying compressed and stacking, but that looks like he's extending it. He may go belly down on this. Beautiful jiu-jitsu, beautiful defense, but Amin Ayub is relentless. He's already bloodied up the champion. Trying to get that elevator sweep.
Ladies and gentlemen of Brave Nation, this is jiu-jitsu. This is using position, even when you're on bottom, to protect yourself, and from that protected place, launch attacks. Try and use a sweep, which is flipping over until you're on top, the opponent's on the bottom, or try and go for a submission, as we have seen repeatedly from Fierceness.
Smart bicep control by Amin Ayub. He had a cheeky little cage grab just before to readjust his position, and when he's on his back, you can always see that he's trying to work the hips, he's trying to throw up a submission, trying to create angles for himself. Potentially, you could be seeing a first round here where a fighter is winning a fight off his back.
That is the power of jiu-jitsu. No other martial art allows you to win a fight when you're on your back. That's a losing situation in every other art.
Big elbow landed by the champion Clayton Silva just to close out the round, but again, Amin Ayub trying to work a submission with those hips. What a first round of action, Kirik.
Absolutely fantastic round by both fighters. Phil, if you had to play judge, who would you call 10-9? Who would you call 9-10?
Realistically, as I said in the closing stanzas of the round there, potentially you're looking at Amin Ayub winning a fight off his back. And there you see some of the exchanges. Amin Ayub landing a lovely little short shot. Just glanced the chin of Clayton Silva with that spinning back fist, and some beautiful work here to get the takedown, but the champion springs right back up. Nice takedown work there, but again, the hips of Amin Ayub constantly throwing up the likes of an armbar. Very, very interesting fight unfolding here in Prospect.
Decky Larkin making sure that there's no ice, no water on the floor, making sure that the corners and the seconds clean it thoroughly.
There's not a lot gets past the Bandit.
Ladies and gentlemen of Brave Nation, this is Decky Larkin. He is the head of regulation here. He makes sure everything that happens in the Brave Combat Federation cage happens by the book. He felt a little bit of moisture on the floor. He wasn't happy with the job the corner did, drying it up, and so he's drying it up himself. That way there is no accidental slippage. An accidental slippage can turn a fight in a second. It can even turn an ankle or a knee. You don't want any excess liquid in the cage. I think Decky has now cleaned that. He has just about cleaned the Brave Combat Federation floor to his liking, and he is seconds away from starting up round 2 of this 5-round world title fight. It's on, round 2.
Little touch of the gloves from both men, showing that whilst they may be throwing barbs at each other on social media, they respect the skill level and endeavor of one another when inside the Brave Arena. Clayton keeping the hands a little bit low, tries to spin him back fist, but Amin always has a counter hook loaded.
Side kick to the knee from Fierceness. Very smart technique to use on an opponent that's got longer reach.
Nice hook again there from Amin Ayub, predicated off the kick from Clayton Silva.
Interesting exchange. Fierceness took a calf kick, but he went straight through and landed that left hook. That's a little window into his thinking right now. Even if he gets hit, he's going to continue moving forward, trying to dictate his fight.
But realistically, Carrick, there's only so many of those types of kicks you can take before your stance, before your pop and your shots is impeded.
It's 100% the case. If that tibialis muscle gets hit directly 3 times, can even be 2 or 1, you can lose control of the ankle and no longer be able to move efficiently.
Oh, charging forward is Amin Ayub, landing a big overhand. And his counter-striking is looking very clean here. Bound to be growing in confidence with the shots he's landing. Already marked the champion up and bloodied the nose.
Predator Silva now is trying to measure his opponent. He's trying to get a clear sense of his opponent's speed, timing, and reach. Once he feels like he gets that, he can start to counter.
You can see another contender in the lightweight division, Ahmed Amir, keeping a close eye on the action again. Him and Clayton almost got into it at the weigh-ins yesterday, so be interesting to see his take on the fight.
Brave Nation, watch the eyes of Predator Silva right now. His concentration is at 100%. He is taking in everything that his opponent is showing him, trying to download it and use it to time counters of his own.
I mean, you're trying to land that leaping hook, and he's doing a great job of almost fighting at range against the taller guy.
He's very intelligently using that side kick to the lead thigh, possibly to the lead knee, to keep his opponent at a distance that he's comfortable with. And again, you saw that calf kick land, and you saw Fierceness fight through it and land those shots. That is the heart of a warrior right here. If things don't go his way initially, he's going to continue moving forward until they do.
Predator now trying to initiate the clinch and get the takedown. The first fight fought mostly on the ground. Second round so far, first round fought mostly on the ground. Second round, more of a stand-up battle between the two, but clinch being initiated right now, and again, it is that nasty zapping part, energy zapping part of mixed martial arts, Kerry.
Fierceness decided he wanted to fight at distance, separates.
Front kick not too far off the mark from Predator.
Interesting adaptation, interesting new tactics that we're seeing from Clayton Predator Silva.
Nice roll under from Amin Ayoub, and he's really starting to chop down that lead leg with low calf kicks, with beautiful push kicks.
He is. Silva may launch front kicks to the face of his own. He's trying to counter those long-range kicks with his own longer-range kicks, like that hook kick attempt to the head.
But that's something that Amin is doing so well. He's landing his shots in the pocket and managing to get out without taking too much damage.
Thus far, Phil, I am calling this round for Amin Fierceness Ayoub.
Clayton Predator in on the takedown. He has the clinch, he has that over-under clinch position. With his arms being so long and his legs being so long, there's potential for a trip takedown here.
Clayton Silva is a brilliant fighter. He's trying different strategies. He tried to punch, he tried to kick at mid-range, he tried to kick it out at a farther range, and now he's trying his luck in the clinch. He's trying his luck in the 50-50 against the Brave Combat Federation cage.
Nice little foot stomp there from Amin Ayoub, or as Noel O'Keefe would say, a dirty foot stomp. Nice little short elbow, and again, fight being contested in the clinch, and that's a great knee from Amin Ayoub. He feels like he's hurt Clayton Silva. And there's the takedown. Good use of the whizzer by Amin Ayoub, but he wasn't able to spring back up. Predator may just take these 10 seconds to get the wind back on his seals, because that knee, that pop knee to the liver, I think hurt Clayton Silva.
It did, and he did what he needed to do. He got himself into a situation where he could rest momentarily on top. Took advantage of it. He's taking a slow walk back to his corner. Phil, call that round for me. 10-9, 9-10.
An incredibly tight round. I do give the slight advantage to Amin Ayoub. I think he did have the advantages in the striking. He was landing the cleaner shots. He was being a little bit more proactive as opposed to reactive in the fight.
We are one on that, Phil. I think that the champion has got to do something a little bit differently. He's been responding tactically. When his opponent strikes and maybe outstrikes him to a degree, he'll move to kicks. Then he gets outstruck by kicks and he throws kicks on the outside. When that doesn't go his way, he moves into the inside, into the clinch, into the 50-50. But I think what he needs to do now, in 3 words, is turn it up.
This is, both men do look a little bit tired, but it's not because they feel, it's not because they're not conditioned well, it's because that they are literally forcing each other to expel as much energy as they can to get the upper hand in this fight.
Phil Decky Larkin actually had to move Fierceness back. He's so eager to jump back into this fight. He was walking to the center cage. Decky pushed him back, said, get back to your corner, son. And it's on, round 3.
Again, Amin Ayoub charging forward, taking the center. Does look a little bit the fresher fighter, Carrick.
He is. Amin Ayoub feels like he won the first 2 rounds by however close a margin. He feels like he's got the range of his opponent. He feels like he has the advantage both on the outside and the inside, and he's now going to press it.
Clayton now with some beautiful movement to cut the angles on Clayton Silva.
Very, very slick head movement as Ayoub moved forward. I think he did get the advantage of that exchange, forced Clayton Predator Silva into the 50-50, and now Ayoub has reversed it, and he's pushed his opponent back up against the cage. Brave Nation, when your opponent's hips are stuck against that cage, the strikes are no longer effective.
Momentarily, Clayton Silva looked like he was about to take the back like he does so well, but one thing I've noticed is Clayton Silva's moving back in straight lines with his chin a little bit high. I think if you see Amin Ayoub try and throw maybe 3s and 4s, he may catch Clayton Silva going backwards.
That certainly is his intent. We have seen a multiplication in his attack. He started off with single attacks and then doubles. He's moved his way up to triple shots now. Would not surprise me if at some point in this round he flurries and goes for it.
Clayton Silva's strikes are coming a little bit more labored than they were in the first round.
That mic area is something I expected to see just a little bit more. When Clayton Silva wasn't doing well against the side kicks, he threw that front kick up to the head, very intelligent technique. With a shorter opponent, even when the opponent is very far on the outside, it allows you to land.
Uppercut just shy off the mark from Amin Ayub. Clayton Silva looks like he has the hands connected. Big takedown from the champion.
Phil, it's hard to take him down. Sometimes it's even harder to keep him.
Amin Ayub momentarily thought about the guillotine. He switched it to the opposite side. He has that knee shield in. He's in guillotine guard right now. Arm in. But right now, if he holds on to that, there is a potential Von Flue choke here for Clayton Silva. Amin Ayub does the right thing, lets the head go, trying to frame off on the arm. Needs to dig in for the underhook and get underneath the body of Predator. Does a good job to recover half guard.
Predator inching his way up. He inched his way up to that left underhook. He inched his way up into that top half guard, which can successfully be used to control the opponent's hips. And very shortly, you should see him posture back and try and land some shots.
Amin Ayub able to recover full guard, and as we saw in round one, he is incredibly dangerous off his back. Puts a foot on the hip, may try and cut an angle here.
Clayton Predator Silva very intelligently taking the fight close to the cage. When your opponent is next to the cage, sideways, half the direction that his hips can go in is removed, and you only need to fear the hips popping out and setting up a submission in one direction. That makes it much easier for the top fighter.
Look at the hips. There's the arm.
There is an armbar in place now.
Can he get full extension on that armbar? Trying to dig in. Mage look to roll champion Clayton Silva.
The angle of the elbow is not quite there.
He's trying just to peel those hands apart and hip into it. This is a tangled weave of bodies. That looks tight. Can he get the point of the elbow? And the champion is out. This is incredibly exciting jiu-jitsu.
Brave Nation, that one hurt. People talk about how strikes hurt, submission attempts don't. That one hurt.
With each submission attempt, Amin Ayub is edging ever so slightly closer. Trying to isolate the arm of the champion and throw those hips up, throw the legs up for the armbar. There he's going for it again. Oh, that one looks a little bit deeper. The point of the elbow looks right in against the fulcrum.
Sweep is almost completed.
Oh, that looks tight. Can he get full extension on it? He's trying to rule the champion.
Fantastic defense from Clayton Silva.
He's doing the right thing. If he grabs his bicep here, almost like a rear naked choke to defend and stack in, and then you can start to jimmy that arm out just a little bit.
Phil, that elbow is out. The elbow is now clear. The fighter on top is safe, but he is not winning these exchanges.
Clayton Silva trying to get momentarily that armbar again, but what an exciting display of jiu-jitsu. Great offensive jiu-jitsu, great submission defense. Big shot! He heard him!
Shots from the inside!
He heard him right at the end of the third round. Amin Ayub showing his diversity of attacks. First with the submissions, then with big strikes.
Predator Silva sucking wind hard as he walks back to his corner. Somebody get a stool underneath that man so he can recover. Amin Ayub, no question. 10-9.
There you see the massive takedown from Clayton Silva. But from there, it was Amin Ayub who was being the most dangerous. Again, potentially Amin Ayub has won a round off his back.
Once again, that is the power of jiu-jitsu.
He rocked him with those big shots. Decky Larkin forced to step in at the end of the round there.
Sometimes in mixed martial arts, we get overwhelming displays of the power of wrestling. They're not always exciting. What we're getting here is a display of the power of jiu-jitsu, and it is exciting.
A lot of excess moisture on Amin Ayub here. You have to wonder how much those uppercuts are going to affect Clayton Silva. He's only had a minute to recover, and it was right at the end.
Phil, shots to the body, as we know, are cumulative. If you take a shot to the body, 30 seconds later, the next one is going to feel worse than if you hadn't. Shots to the head or not. 10 to 15 seconds on the outside after a big headshot. Ordinarily, the fighter's head is clear. I think Clayton Selva's head is clear, but I believe he is down 3 rounds to none now. I believe in order to win this fight, he needs to stop his opponent.
And I think you're going to see Amin Ayoub put the pressure on from the very first moment, knowing that he hurt the champion at the end of that 3rd round. Clayton Selva just teasing with the knee there, letting Amin Ayoub know that it's there.
Phil, we're going to start to see fierceness counter more aggressively. He's not simply going to block a shot when it comes in. Once he's countered that shot, either via head movement or another defensive technique, he's going to start to swarm his opponent.
Again, the shots coming just that little bit more labored for Clayton Selva. Amin Ayoub looking like the fresher fighter, throwing the spinning back fist, just shy with it. Now putting the pressure on the champion, working the body a little bit.
Nice long-range kicks from the champion.
Nice head movement again from Amin Ayoub. Just evades the strike and replies with his own.
Phil, these two are playing a dangerous game right now.
Oh, he caught him
in the pocket.
Oh, he shot it! He's
out!
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new! Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new lightweight champion of the world!
And new champion of the world. Amin Fierceness Ayoub.
Take a bow, young man. He is now at the top of the table. He has knocked out the champion and definitively claimed the lightweight championship of the world.
Absolutely savage performance against an absolutely savage fighter.
Well, the lightweight title picture just became wide open. You have Sam Patterson, you have Ahmed Amir, you have Rolando D, you have the new champion, Amin Ayoub, you have the former champion, Luan Miao Santiago. The lightweight division is stacked. It is on fire.
Phil, not only do we have Rolando D, he's actually standing by the cage, trying to get a piece of him right now.
Legend flowing through my veins.
Rolando D is in the building. Ahmed Amir is in the building. Sam Patterson is watching at home.
Our president, Mohammed the Hawk Shahid, is slowly entering the Brave Combat Federation cage in order to wrap the belt around the champion.
I would love to see that finish back, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Charging forward, the chin of Clayton was up, and boom, there you go. Big shot, Dickie Larkin diving right in. Doesn't take a punch this time like he did from Mo Fakhreddin. Clayton Selva was going back with that chin a little bit too high in the air. Amin Ayoub recognized it and finished with a beautiful flurry of strikes to become the new Brave Combat Federation lightweight champion of the world.
Brave Nation, what an incredible main event at Brave CF 44. Unbelievable fight. This comes to an end at 1 minute, 23 seconds of round number 4. Your winner by knockout and new Brave Combat Federation lightweight champion of the world, Amin Fierceness
Brave Nation, the crowning achievement thus far in the short career of Amin Ayoub. At only 24 years of age, he turns 25 on the 8th of November. What a way to celebrate your birthday by becoming a world champion.
Absolutely fantastic fight. And Phil, let's talk a little bit about the curse. It's incredibly hard to get this title, but it is apparently a lot harder to keep it. Talk a little bit about the turnover.
This is so far an undefendable title It is incredible, the curse of the Brave lightweight title.
Ladies and gentlemen of Brave Nation, they say you don't own a belt until you've defended it successfully, and no one can successfully defend this belt.
But Amin Ayub is built of something different, Kerry. He is a completely different fighter. He is that new breed of fighter, that new breed of champion. He is only, at 24 years of age, going to get better and better. He hasn't even reached his prime yet. How scary is that?
He did, Phil. He showed us already that he's at the next level, and as you said, the kid is young. He's got 10 more years to develop. If there's anybody that can break the Brave Combat Federation lightweight curse, we are looking at him.